Good morning. I'm higher vibrations and so are you. There have been a lot of the same symptoms that people have been having. The Ascension symptoms have been very similar or common. However, there's been some different ones that have happened recently. The most common that have been occurring, all of us know about the ear ringing and the buzzing. The buzzing is kind of new. It's a different kind of sound. It's not the Taoist hum that we've talked about before, and a lot of us hear that at like 3 a.m. where the earth makes this humming sound. Often the underwater hearing kind of experience happening, technology failing us, Wi-Fi is never working, things like that. A lot of it, static electricity and shocking each other, shocking things that aren't common to have that static electricity experience. There's been a lot of eye stuff over the past little while, and not just these eyes, but also the third eye. This is where a lot of headaches are occurring for a lot of people. They tend to be fleeting. The headaches aren't just the third eye region, but that just feels like a pressure area almost. There's almost this experience of, it feels like something is moving through and out there. Personally, I've noticed I'm having some it's not even, I can't describe it truly as acne, but some purging that's been happening in that area for the past little bit too. The headaches on the temples are really common also. Again, this tends to be fleeting. However, the sensation of it is so pronounced. It's similar to like a migraine kind of severity. If it lasted very much longer than it does, a lot of times we could classify it as that. Also, on the crowns, that was something that's been happening. You know, it's not always on the sides. There's this space, and along with that, we also are having spine and neck stuff, and so a lot of us have been having kind of stuff in that area for a while. Weird, almost boil-like stuff that people have had in like the crooks of the neck, as well as actual things that have been medically removed. The just cysts and things like that stuff is moving through us, and we're having this purging experience with that area, with that 4D chakra. And then now there's an alignment happening. So we're maybe not even realizing before that it was out of alignment, your neck or your back, and that it needed to be like shifted and put into place. And it's happening in an automatic way. We'll just be doing something or not, and all of a sudden, pop, 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 you're noticing this realignment that's occurring. Issues with the joints again. And remember, this isn't like a chronic difficulty. That we're talking about experiences that have no medical explanation, and are often a fleeting experience. Just, it makes you feel kind of crazy when you're going through it. Knees and ankles are the most common right now. And we're not talking about a previous injury, though there have been a few people who've had injuries in the past and then have been completely healed or no problem since, and then all of a sudden bursts of anxiety and or bursts of depression are unsettling. That's happening for a lot of people, and just know it's not you. Okay, so when as it comes through, just send love to it and let it move through. It will be a very short-lived experience when we do so. When I try to attach to it, try to figure it out, I kind of collected and, oh, this is mine. I'll take this anxiety. I'll take this depression. And no, we don't need to do that though. If you want to, you can. Also, a lot of stuff about sleep has been really, like 2 or 3 hours of sleep at a time, and then awake again. And not that there's like an overactive bladder problem happening or anything like that. It's just always being woken in the middle of an important experience that's happening. I think a lot of it has to do with helping you remember what had occurred. Because when we wake in the middle of the experience, it's easier to recall that. Other kind of sleep disruption stuff, like finding yourself sleepwalking or engaging in activity in bed as if you were doing it, participating in your dream in a very physical way, especially when it's not a common thing. That's been happening a lot more. As well as sensitivity. So like the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, the sense of sight, all of these things are increasing. In the beginning of increasing or improving the sight becoming an improved experience, it seems like we're going out of focus more, and it's difficult to attach or to understand the detail of something. And what that had been for many of us wasn't losing sight at all. It was simply more things that were at a higher vibration than we were at, where we're slowly raising our vibration. And as we meet that vibrational frequency, now we can perceive this new thing. So there's this lag space, right, where you're almost there. And so some things we're like fading in and out of perception. And so it made it feel a lot like losing sight. Other stuff occurred at that time for me too. I was noticing goop coming out of my eyes. Also twitching, a lot of twitching experiences around the eyes during that time for me. The eye, like the eyebrow or like the eyelid somewhere, and it moved into the mouth area. Now it's migrated and moved into like large body or large muscle groups, and causing like Charlie horses or muscle spasms. A lot of us are having those types of experiences right now, as well as other types of purging. Again, we already talked about the acne, but there's other skin stuff. We're noticing as we're sweating that the sweat isn't quite sweat. It's more, I don't know how to describe it. It's not what it normally feels like, sweat. It's like more slimy almost or something. It's not correct. So that's very interesting. Other purging as well. We're noticing a lot of movement through our sinuses. We've been having a lot of popping and weird stuff and flicking sounds and stuff going on there, and pressure, and now it's just like moving out. Body acne, face acne, stuff that isn't as untypical. Like I'm no longer a teenager, and these experiences are a very real thing. A lot of us are having this. Noticing also the areas that this acne is coming from, not just like that specific part of your body, but that side of your body, as well as the grouping, like in a larger way. We're moving this stuff through us and out, and it just takes its time. Increase in water intake. We're doing that naturally in order to help this experience of not only the purging and the flushing out of the things that are happening to us, and trying to move from this vibrational space up to a higher vibrational space where some of the parasites or the team body in our space are not in alignment with that frequency. And so we're doing a lot of flushing out, but then also the higher water content assists as this light, the plasma, as these light codes this shines through and fills us up with it. It assists us. It moves through more efficiently in that way. A lot of food related stuff, eating stuff, like noticing metallic taste is really a common one right now, like the taste of metal, and finding just not wanting to eat, and not just metal, but like something tastes off about something, and just completely losing an appetite. That's becoming really common. It's fascinating how many individuals are reporting all of a sudden sudden onset like food allergies that have never had a problem before. And I had something very similar regarding meat a few years ago, and that's what has led me to being almost vegan. It's not really been an ethical choice. It's simply my body was not wanting it and rejecting it. A little bit at a time, I'd remove certain types of meat. And the same is true for other foods. It's just over a period of time. It's been a slow process for me. So, if you can be as gentle as you can with yourself, and just as you notice these things that your body no longer wants, it's hard to find alternatives, but just don't give up. There's a lot of other things going on like that, like you're craving foods that have just never been a thing before. Those are the things our body's wanting now. And then also our favorite foods no longer desirable to us anymore, almost unpalatable again. And it turns into almost an allergic reaction, or the taste is not the most pleasant. The eye headaches too. There's the headaches behind the eye, and it almost feels like there's something back there kind of wiggling, pushing, and there's not, but there's something happening and moving through us. And so that it's okay. A lot of us are having that. It's a very bizarre sensation for sure. As well as That alignment that I was talking about with our back and our neck is also happening in our joints, in our fingers, which are joints, wrists and stuff like that. So the discomfort often turns into a realignment or a readjustment, and also noticing some things that for those of you who have had injuries in the past, noticing those injuries solving themselves. And that's that's an experience of mine. Like, it's a self-healing kind of thing that's happening right now. One of the other things too that have been happening to a lot of us has been the strange, like, tingling or poking in major organs in our body and areas of those organs also. What's really fun is looking up flexology. Put it there for you to look into it, and you can find out what that body part actually means, as how it's associated. And that kind of helps us to understand that part of us that needs to be healed through. Forgetfulness and vocabulary loss, also temporary slurring of speech, the forgetfulness, being in the middle of a sentence and being, yeah, I guess I'm not going to say it anymore because I forgot. Stuff like that. The synchronicities is something I don't always mention. I'm trying to remember, and you can look them up. You know, you can find out what those numbers means. A lot of people look up what's called angel numbers to find out the definition of what you just saw and the message coming. But the base message for those synchronicities are your guardian angels, your guides, your higher self, everyone in Team You experience saying, good job, you're doing great, and we love you. Don't give up. Keep going. You got this. Like, that's really what it is. Feeling heavy, like that, again, it's that depression thing that just kind of moves through us, but it's just like all of a sudden feeling weak in the muscles and just heavy, like there's more gravity. And that's also a fleeting thing too. I've noticed it when it's happened where it didn't feel fleeting until I sent love to it. You know, so that's an experience that we can kind of overcome and understand that it's not us. Noticing things, seeing things. Again, remember we're moving our vibration to a higher frequency. And there are other frequencies, and it goes all the way up and all the way down too, where we have come from in our experience. And so now we're coming up here and we're starting to see things. So we're seeing light orbs. We're seeing silhouettes of beings, as well as just other kind of lit up experiences. Again, the silhouette of a being tends to be lit. You know, it looks like there's a light around, a faded light around the back of somebody, and you're only seeing the light, so you get to see the silhouette of the individual within. It's kind of really cool. And as well as colors, noticing new color, noticing more things in the sky. And I'm not talking about just in the night, but noticing things in the sky, the colors and the brightness and the way certain things perhaps have always been, as this filament is being kind of moved through, as well as bursts of crying, you know, and like, it's not always in sadness. A lot of times it's in love as well as like joy. And that's so releasing and so healing. Allowing oneself to cry is one of the most empowering things that we have not been doing for the vast majority of this experience. It is not weakness. It is beautiful. And it is pure and healing for so many around us too. Psychic abilities that you didn't have before, having intuition that you didn't perhaps notice before, you know, different kinds of, you know, gifts and abilities increasing or showing up for the first time. And that's, again, we're moving into a higher space. And when we empty ourselves of as much fear or guilt or shame or whatever it was that was close to the fear paradigm, and going closer and closer to the love paradigm, in that place of love, we have more access to these things. We're shedding away that density, that shadow, or whatever you want to call it, and existing in our truest self. And that's just so beautiful. The tingling and the poking and the weird experiences on our skin. And this is happening all over the body, not at the same time, but just really strange experience a lot of people are having. And so I want to reassure you, a lot of us are having it. Our skin is the largest organ that we have, you know, and so of course it makes sense that not only just certain organs within us are being affected, but then also that big organ. And sometimes it actually feels like a mosquito bite or a bee sting, or even like a needle or something like that, and it goes away. Know that that's happening to a lot of people, as well as rashes, strange rashes. I had that for a period of time. Again, no explanation. Tingling and tapping on the head. It feels like someone's just kind of like, hey. And sometimes it's like, hey. And that's kind of a fun one too, but a little bit startling. And it's not meant to cause startle. It's just like, get the attention of the person that needs to listen this time, kind of a thing. Palms of hands, soles of feet. Again, the just overheating experience. This thing we're having, a lot of people are having these moments of past lives coming through, which is beautiful and awesome. And it's reassuring and comforting to know, to see, to have that experience, because that's what typically everyone talked about a decade ago. That was what the awakening people always wanted to talk about, who I was in my past life. And that does sound like a lot of fun to figure that out. It sounds really enjoyable. At the same time as we do that, we're investing our time in deciding what we think about a step on a staircase. And so as that comes through to you, please know that as these experiences are there, you can invest time into them, but the longer you spend there, the longer you will take to get up to that next stair. And so most of that is for us to remember the sensation of self, to remember who you truly are. A lot of us are very much souls with dementia. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. We've come here and have slipped out of the ability to remember self, and have gone into this like guilt, shame, cowering, feeling like you're weak kind of person. And that is the exact opposite of who you truly are. We are the ones that were picked. There were so many that raised their hand and volunteered when the call came out to come and to liberate Earth and to ascend the planet. I remember it happening. And there were so many of us. And out of that group, only a few were picked. You were one of those few that were picked because you were the most capable. You were the most prepared. You are the most armed and experienced. We came together as a family of light, and we're scattered over the planet. And here we are now, finally able to reconnect. And as we reconnect, we're here to also rekindle that memory, that memory of your confidence, of your understanding, of your wisdom, not the knowledge that wisdom brought to you, simply that peace and that calm and that centeredness and that space of love that you are in true form. Our name, the things that we did, our hobbies, are just side notes. Those are just parlor tricks. They're fun to find out about. So as this stuff comes through, I ask that you try not to invest as much in the story as what it felt like to be you, to remember what it feels like to be confident, to be in your heart center, to understand that the energy of your heart is far more valuable than the energy of your brain, that you are this being of light, that you are the soldier of God, and we are here, united always, never having been divided, simply forgetting who we were with. Thank you for your service. Don't give up. I love you so much. I hope you're having a lovely journey. Aho blessings.